Hello everyone and welcome. Today I wanted to talk to you about Stockholm Syndrome. So I'm going to read the definition here from a website, pretty general, but you'll get the idea. Stockholm Syndrome is a coping mechanism to a captive or abusive situation. People develop positive feelings toward their captors or abusers over time. This condition applies to situations including child abuse, coach abuse, relationship abuse, and sex trafficking. So, I'll tell you why these demons, they want you to get comfortable, with Stockholm Syndrome. This is what they want to give you, right? And here's why. So, they see that you're gifted, talented, original, creative. They want that, and at peace, at ease. But when you steal and you are just dishonest all around, and you're also always lusting after someone else, something else, or something that somebody else has, if you're constantly lusting and reaching for whatever somebody else has for them, that's for them. You will never ever experience peace, especially not inner peace, because it's not yours. What they steal from you, or what they are able to steal from you, what they're trying to steal from you, even if they are successful, they will never see peace from it. If anything, it's going to disrupt their life, and this is why they keep coming back, because they need more of that creativity, because they didn't get it by themselves, right? This is why they keep coming back, but you aren't allowing them in your life, right? You were basically dismissing them at every turn you could every time they came around. You were just like, nope, miss me with the nonsense, right? So they have to find a way to keep coming back around. So this is why they go to people around you, family, friends, the weaker people who are weaker vessels, who are, or who really just don't know better. After a while they catch on. But by that time, hopefully your mental health is still okay. Hopefully you still have everything intact. But by that time, if they don't catch on, then it's another story. This is why they gaslight you and try to make you out to look crazy. They gaslight you to yourself and others to make you feel crazy and make you look crazy. So now you look paranoid, schizophrenic, like, oh, they're after me. This and that. No matter how you word it, you just look paranoid, schizophrenic. And this is so, and then they could turn around and say, oh, this person's crazy. They label you crazy, and then they steal your shit, your originality, your creativity, the things you made for yourself, by yourself, which you're abundant. Don't worry about what they steal, because that's just, it's going to rip them apart. It's going to be their downfall. Anything these demons use as their Achilles heel, use against you that you created, it's going to be their Achilles heel. It's going to be their downfall. So, with that said, they create this feedback loop in your head and to the other people around you. They're in constant manipulation mode. This is how they have to live their life. The saying that you get it how you live, period. They really get it how they live, but they don't know the consequences, because they think they're making choices. They're not choosing consequences. Whereas us, the people who choose to live in the light, who choose to be the light, or who were chosen to be the light, however you want to put it. I'm trying to avoid the word chosen one, but they have to, we don't have to do all that, man. We don't have to do anything but be ourselves. And of course, these little maggots, they gravitate towards us. They want that light. They want some of that light. And once they get some of that light, they see how good it feels just to be in your presence. So now they're doubly screwed, right? Because they can't stay away from you, because they want the light that you produce, but they also want it for themselves, and they want to extinguish that light in you. So when they see they can't extinguish the light in you, right, they have no choice, and they can't just have all that light for yourself. You're still shining, regardless of if they're around or not. And they hate that. They want to see, they want to make sure that people are like, oh, they only shine when this person's around. They only, this, that, and the third. But if you stay true to yourself, these people, they have no win. There's nothing in their future except destruction from the very thing that they took from you. You know, it's like stealing like in those magical movies or whatever. You take something that don't belong to you, like the removing the sword from the ground. Only the chosen person can do that. It's not their sword, so they're, even if they were successfully removed from the ground, there's still going to be some rock particles on it that makes it too heavy for them to wield, to swing around. So sorry, I'm chewing gum. I got anxiety, trying to get better with it, and I'm thinking ahead of myself, thinking faster than I can talk. So, you know, or that sword, you know, causes them to self-destruct or whatever. So whatever they steal from you is gonna cause them to self-destruct if you stay true to you, because eventually their real self, their natural self, is gonna reveal them. It's gonna expose them. They always do it to themselves. They always expose themselves. Every single, it never fails. So stay true to yourself. You know, you have nothing to worry about. You know, those little things that they're trying to hand you called L's aren't really L's. They're L's, you know, they're L's that they're taking. That's literally what they're doing. They're taking L's all day, every day, you know, by not moving on with their life, by trying to make you feel some kind of way, by trying to provoke you and still fearing you, yada, yada, yada. So back on subject. It's still on subject, but I had to sidebar a little bit. So this gives them ways to come back around. As long as they're attached to somebody around you, no matter how much you reject them, you know, you know, it's like they're gonna try to find a way to attach themselves to somebody around you. But once you make solid friends and, you know, family connections who see through the bullshit and they finally, you know, just get rid of this person, like, don't come around here with that. It's a good chance you found your soul tribe, depending on where their mindset is at and what their angle is. Because you also have to be careful who have a savior complex and, you know, they expect things in return. Which, you know, I'm not saying that you shouldn't repay them or be at least thankful, but, you know, the whole thing is like, if you're really on that light path, you know, if you really see the light, you shine the light, then you're really, you know, you just do good to do good because it's just the right thing to do. And you're not really looking for things in return. You know, you pay it forward, it comes back from God, and you're not looking for it from other people. And that's what some of their biggest mistakes. They'll play savior in somebody's life and like, oh, they owe me money, they owe me this in their head. Whether they say it to somebody or not, this is what they do in their head. You know, this person owes me, I did all this for them, this and that, you know, and they just up and left or whatever. Never mind how toxic they might have been, you know, to that person while they were going through their stuff and lording things over their head. So this keeps them in your life. This keeps them attached to your creativity. This keeps them in a position that they are able to see and track what you're doing, where you are, what you say, and try to basically read you, process how you think, you know, this and that. But they don't have the bandwidth, and that's another thing that's going to be part of their downfall. Because take you out of the equation, they are nothing. They have nothing for themselves, you know, because they haven't tapped in, they haven't done the inner work. And so it's like they got to start all over from scratch without you. So of course they want to hold on to you, you know. I mean, you really can't, you can't be mad, and it's understandable, but it's just like, I mean, look in the mirror, man. Look in the mirror. Because it's like they write, you know, they do drive-by speeches and shit. Like, I'm sorry, excuse my language. They do drive-by speeches and, you know, say all kinds of crazy stuff and, you know, try to instill fear in you. But I'm like, nobody, you know, my whole thing is nobody that can confront me to my face is about to scare me, period. If you got to talk to everybody but me about me in order for it to, and hope it gets back around to me, then you are nothing to fear. You're a coward. You're the fearful one. So they want you to have Stockholm syndrome so you can get used to being bullied, get used to the abuse, you know, to the point that you basically submit and like, oh, maybe I do need this person in my life, after they tear down connections that were probably not meant for you anyway, because any connection that could be torn down from someone on the outside was never a strong connection to begin with. you know, and you start looking back and reflecting, but they're still abusive to you. So, you know, they're still trying to tear you down, downplay you, right? Meanwhile, they're stealing your stuff, and them tearing you down and downplaying you to other people is them trying to erase your identity, basically, while they steal your identity. You get me? So they're trying to replace you and make people accept a thrift shop version of you, basically, a hand-me-down version of you. And then people feel that emptiness when they're there, because if you notice the people around them, if you look at their inner circle, these people look withered away, destroyed, just downtrodden. They, you know, there's something about them, either inside or out, that looks, you know, just depleted, basically. So this is what they do to everybody they come in touch with. You know, everything you touch turns to gold. It turns to something valuable. Everything they touch turns to garbage. You know, it's just no longer valuable, you know, especially if they keep their hands on it long enough, and everything they touch and everything around it turns to nothing, rubbish. So they that's why they want to make you comfortable with it, because they want you to have your hand on their life, because they know God is in, you know, God is in you. And if God is in you, you have certain capabilities that God allows you, the Most High allows you, that is healing. So what they come in and mess and steal from you, and then they mess it up, and it doesn't have your grace, right? It doesn't have God's grace. And they know you're closer to God than they'll ever be. And that's the thing, is like, when they were in contact with you, when they were in good with you, that was the best feeling they ever felt. And that was the closest to heaven that they will ever get, ever. And they knew that. But they didn't play their cards right. You know, they tried to play the queen. And everybody knows you must protect the queen or king. You know, they tried to play the major players when, you know, they should have been playing the knights and stuff in their hand, because those are the ones that are going to be the downfall as well. Because once people around them, all the people they're getting connected to, including their own people, a lot of their own people, those knights are going to turn on them. They're going to jump sides, you know, checkmate. So, you know, they have to protect themselves, you know, because of course they're going to consider themselves a king or a queen. But who wants to be a king or a queen? You could be the emperor or empress. So anyway, they want you to have Stockholm syndrome, because they want to be a part of your life forever, basically. You know, it's like spiritual kidnap, spiritual abuse, and sometimes it's emotional, and sometimes even physical. You know, it's just abuse. But the thing is, it's only abuse if you care about these people. Like, if you don't care about these people, you know, then it's a different story. It's emotion. The only depths that you should care about what they're doing, because it's gonna backfire anyway, is, you know, the people you lose. But then it's just like, is that really such a bad thing? Not everyone you lose is a loss. Not everything you lose is a loss. You know, they cost you a job that, you know, cost you constant stress, and, you know, it paid well, but it caused you constant stress. But if you don't lose things, how do you get on this path? You know, the whole thing is on this path that they try to stray from their own path to get on your path. And by the time they get on their path, you know, they're in old age and too tired, and, you know, they will be discouraged many times, you know, and they will have many regrets in life. But they want the fast and easy way. They want the here and now. They want instant gratification. And that's why they want you in that Stockholm syndrome mindset, because it'll, you know, it keeps them attached to you, you know, because you're not the one seeking them out. You're not the ones following them around and trying to find out what you're doing. In fact, you really, you know, we really don't give a damn. You know, we don't care about what they're doing. We're not checking up on them. We're not wondering what they're doing, what they're saying, because they literally go out of their way to let people know and let you know what they're doing and saying, to try to make you feel a way and get you to, they want you constantly putting out fires, basically. You know, like, and we can see through the bullshit, and some of us, you know, we're more emotional than others, and, you know, we'll go ahead and try to put out those fires. And myself, no, I'm not putting out any fires. I'm gonna let it burn, baby, burn. You know, because they out there, speaking of burning, you know, they out there, you know, they scream in the streets and stuff like that because they're itching and burning. A lot of these people have STDs, man. Let's be real. A lot of these people have HIV, and they'll say, oh, you know, stupid stuff like the streets won't respect you, blah blah blah. Well, if the streets don't respect you, that means you aren't for the streets. Count your blessings, okay? You're not for the streets. You're just not for them. You know, if the streets don't respect you, cool. You know, and if the streets don't, you know, they don't like you, whatever, cool. You're not for the streets. They are. Because the people love saying, oh, this person is for the streets, she for the streets, he for the streets. Be thankful that that's the thing. Because they're for the streets, and they just told them themselves. In fact, everything they do and say towards you, it tells on them. Why are you so obsessed? Like, you literally trying to be out the, you know, stay out the way, go on about your business, move on with your life, and here they are nipping at your heels like little lost puppies, paving the way for them. You know, like, if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be. You're schooling them, basically. Like, I had somebody walk around with a fake schoolgirl picture of me or whatever. You know, I literally paid somebody because I knew this was a type of person that wasn't going to go away. I knew this is who this was. I didn't know the terminology at the time. I still don't. But I knew this person was not going to go away. And they stayed on my nuts, basically. And I had to, you know, I did something, and, you know, I kept them busy. It kept them off me. So Photoshop is a real thing, people. Very effective. You know, if you know what type of person this is, if they ask for nudes, send them nudes, but send them fake nudes. And then, you know, make sure it's something that after you tell them what it really is going to crush them and their whole system, because people love porn shaming. They love what is that? Porn something, I forgot. Slander. I forget the terminology, but, you know, they love exposing nudes and videos and stuff like that. You know, make sure you're able to crush them with it. So what I did with mine was, he didn't even ask for it. I just knew that this motherfucker was, you know, crazy. So I sent it to somebody I was messing around with at the time, whatever. And I don't even know if this is him, because this person has yet to show their face to me. Yet. It's been, I don't know, say 7 years possibly that they've been doing this. 6-7 years they've been doing this, and still lost. They're still losing, still taking these L's. And you know, it's funny. It's been funny to me the whole time. I've been laughing the whole time, and it's, you know, because it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for them. Like, they're trying to humiliate. You know, they try to humiliate you and things like that. They want you to get comfortable with that stuff. That's why they have these humiliation rituals for these rappers, actors, all this nonsense. And it's just like, why is it necessary? If this is so good, why do you need to go through humiliation to get it? It doesn't make sense. But I guess it's in the same breath. Some people would think this spiritual path is humiliating. And, you know, like, but how is God humiliating? You know, please tell me, because God is the reason we draw breath. God is the reason I can sit over here by this water and watch the waves hit the rocks, and, you know, look at these piers and these beautiful mountains in California, man. God is the reason I do this. It is my duty to appreciate this. But they want to be your God, basically. And they don't want to appreciate anything that God has given you. And in fact, they want you to curse what God is giving you. For their, you know, because they stick around and they apply so much pressure, and they're always trying to downplay what you say. They try to give you low self-esteem, but it's like, how are you gonna follow somebody around and try to give them low self-esteem, bitch? You're following me. Like, you're watching me, every move I make, every step I take. You know, I'll be watching you. So how can you give somebody low this? Like, these are the questions I have about these people. Like, how can you make somebody have low self-esteem that you're constantly watching, that you're constantly on their nuts, basically? You can't give somebody low self-esteem like that. That's ignorant. And that's what they're trying to do. Because their self-esteem is low. They want to bring you down to their level. That's where they are, and that's where they're going to stay until they decide to do the inner work and make that change. So that's exactly why they want you to be in be stuck in that cycle, basically, because they're stuck in a cycle. They're stuck in a cycle watching you and having to be attached to you just to thrive and survive. Without you, there is no them. They cease to exist in the minds of you, in the minds of other people. They don't even know who they are, you know. And this is another reason, you know, they want you to be happy with them around, abusing them all the time. They want you to basically turn into them a toxic piece of trash, man. And that's all they are, is just toxic. That's it. And they want you to, you know, appear, they want you to get, because you aren't toxic, you know. But people are people. People have emotions, and people have their limits. So once they're able to push you to that limit, you know, and say you attack them verbally, physically, whatever, then all of a sudden you're a villain. Never mind all the stuff, because our tempers, you know, our patience is long, but our tempers are short. You know, because once you, I mean, I know me, I'll speak for myself on this. Once you take me there, there's no return. Like, and if you take me there, I'm probably planning on, like, ending your life. Point blank, period. Because I don't deserve that. And I know if you can get me to that point, you don't deserve to live. You know, and that's just where I'm going with it. I said what I said, you know, because I'm one of the most chill people, and usually all of us are, us truth sayers. You know, all of us are. We're really chill people with long patience, but short. You know, the tempers be real, man. The tempers be real. But because their money is short, just like their knowledge and intelligence, they draw off the longevity of your patience. You know, they're literally taking your patience away for other people, so that other people won't be exposed to your light, so that you'll shut other people out, shut them down. And sometimes you have to heal, you know, because people, I'll do another video on that, because people do feel entitled sometimes because they weren't the one to cut you. But what you're doing is trying to heal yourself so you won't bleed on them. But people, you know, they feel entitled to your presence, to just being around you in general, to interacting with you, because they weren't the ones who cut you. But sometimes people just need time to heal, and then that's when they're able to get that person, because they are of a weaker mentality with the entitlement, and they'll try to recruit them. So that you see why, you know, because if somebody's constantly cutting you because you're keeping them around, because you've been so beaten down mentally that you just are happy, you know, you just want, you know, you don't mind these people being around. I do. Fuck those people. Okay, like they can kick rocks and flip flops for all I give a shit. And I won't say the other stuff that I could say, but I can literally care less. I couldn't care less if they lived or died. And that's not me being cold, but it's like, if that's what you're doing with your life, you are wasting God's purpose. You're literally like slapping God in the face, saying, look, I know you sent me here. Or maybe that is their purpose. I don't know. But some people, they're supposed to go with you, but they choose to go against you. And their karma, you know, it'll show. Their character will show. And they don't even realize that they're in karma. Their karma is to watch you after they go against you and try to have to lap up the scraps off the ground from the crumbs you drop just to survive. That is their karma. Period. You know, and it's sad. You know, it's sad to watch, because then they, after they're done lapping up the scraps that you drop behind, they snarl at you because their asses are still hungry. Like their stomach is touching their back right now. And I'm trying not to laugh. But yeah, they are starving still. You know, and I think that hunger, just based off their character, will always be there. But us, we are always full. We are always satisfied. Never really hungry, but insatiable. But we are not greedy. So, and that's the level we maintain. We are insatiable, but we are also just not greedy. And that's what keeps us going. We are constantly insatiable for knowledge. We are insatiable for trying new things, for going out and exploring. These people, they are cowards. They will not try anything new. You know, they rather piggyback and coattail on you to so that you can create their path, because that's literally what you're doing, is creating their path. But God will show them. So yeah, the load is heavy, but it's not the load. It's not the weight of the load. It's how you carry it. You know, it's like when you're doing squats with weights. You're doing weighted squats with the bar. You know, you do the wrong technique, you can mess around and really screw up your back. That's why you have to get a wide base, square off, and sink back on your heels. You know, but don't let them rock you back on your heels. Don't let it be the weight to rock you back on your heels. Let it be your own technique. All right? So you got to carry that weight accordingly, according to where it's shifting, and become really good at it, basically. Get your reps in, and then like the more they do their little nonsense, those are your reps. You know, the more they come around, those are your sets. And so they're gonna, you know, it's gonna be heavy volume, it's gonna be heavy weight, but it will feel like nothing if you carry it right. In fact, if you let God carry that weight, if you let God fight those battles and stop worrying about these people, yeah, you're gonna lose people. All they're doing is clearing, you know, they're just clearing the damn way, man. They're just exposing people left and right. You don't need them, and you don't need them to do that, because we're intuitive people, so we know who's fake and who's, you know, who's a fake, who's a snake, and, you know, who's a Jake. You know, it's just like, we know. But they want to, since they want so much importance in their life, it's like, are you trying to help us or hurt us? You know, because they are definitely exposing these fakes, you know. And you change the energy when you walk in a room, and they saw that from the moment they saw you. And some of them plan the meetings with you. It's like, no, I can't come to her or him as I am, so I'm going to try to plan an accidental meeting. I'm going to run into them at the park or the library or something. I'm going to study them, because trust and believe, they were watching you before they met you. They were watching. More than, like, most of them were watching before they met you. And some of them was like, oh yeah, pretend it was love at first sight, and, you know, held on to you as tight as they could. And, you know, the trouble comes is when you don't want them holding on to you anymore. That's when the trouble comes. It's all, you know, love bombs, singing songs, roses, whatever, the works, vacations. You know, this is why they move so fast. It's just like, because some of them have you moving with them right away. This is why they move so fast, so you don't have time to see through their bullshit, but you'll see it. You know, the whole thing is like, a lot of us sometimes we just ignore that intuition. And because we're in a time of need, we're in a time of pain, you know, healing, whatever, what have you, you know. But it's a time where we were vulnerable, and we'll hold on to that, or a time where we were mentally and spiritually lazy, and sometimes physically. And maybe this person just felt like security, and everybody loves security. Everybody wants security. So it's like, you know, but we definitely come out of it eventually. Not all of us. Some of us actually end up dead, you know. And like, but most of us get out of it before it's too late. And then that's when they stalk your entire life. They watch you harder than God. But God's watching them. And that's the funny thing. And they're watching you and doing all this to you. And there are people watching them, you know, because you never know. Karma is always in motion. And that's what I'm going to do another video on. So they can finish talking shit about you to somebody, and then they walk outside and get popped in the mouth just because of what somebody heard them say about you. Like, this is not a game. She is not a game. Don't try to play her, you know, or he. Don't try to play him. So they want you comfortable because they want to stay around. They want you comfortable with the abuse, comfortable with the lies. They want you comfortable with being deceived and, you know, being stolen from. And then they have an excuse. They have a problem for every solution. They want you comfortable with that. because that's the only way. Being close to you is the only way they can really steal from you. Watching you, having eyes on you, knowing what you're doing, that's the only way they can steal. So let them steal, because it's going to destroy them eventually. Just like certain races should have certain diets, otherwise it's going to destroy them from the inside out, and that's what it's going to do to them. Them stealing from you, it's going to start with their conscience, but the thing is, they're professionals at ignoring their own conscience. So watch out for that too. If somebody is not in tune with their conscience, or they insist on not paying attention to it, watch out for that. All the time, like they never give it a second thought. If they have one anymore, because some of them, they come in conscious free and act like that's the way to be. But it's gonna chew them up from the inside out. All the stress from watching another person and trying to steal from them and trying to make them look bad, all the trifectas they try to place in your life, the spider web of deceit, lies and deceit, that spider's gonna start eating them up from the inside out. So don't worry. And we're so abundant that as long as we stay with God, as long as we keep our mind on God, our hearts on God, our spirits, our souls, our emotions, as long as we leave our burdens at God's door, we will forever be abundant. So there's plenty more where that came from. It's endless, it's infinite, eternal, and just stay the course and stay true to yourself. And with that, I'll leave you. Hopefully this explained the Stockholm thing for you. With that, I'll leave you. Drink plenty of water. Heal properly. Eat roots. Never let the world tell you what you're worth. And most importantly, life is too short to mind other people's business. So it's best that you mind your own. Peace.